Welcome to Juggy Reviews. Basically, I'm using this time to watch some TV and make my way through the BBC iPlayer, in particularly BBC Three, and review some of the current shows it has going on. I grew up watching BBC Three. I loved all the content. It produced stuff like Gavin and Stacey, Being Human. But since it made the move from TV to online, I've neglected it a little bit. So I thought I'll revisit and give my take on what it has to offer at the moment. This Country, it's a documentary style comedy that follows cousins Kerry and Kurtan in their small, non-eventful village in the Cotswolds. So I really enjoyed this, and I know I've been saying that about a lot of the content, but it's actually a really funny show. So it's written and created by the leads Daisy May Cooper and Charlie Cooper, who I'm assuming are related, maybe together. And it's just really funny, but in a weird way, as the characters are quite strange and end up in peculiar situations. And like generally not much actually happens. It's very like focused on like ordinary lives, like they go to work, someone's cooking at home. So not much happens, but it like just, yeah. But it's like really funny. Like it's just, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a really good show, and I was quite surprised about how much I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, it's really good viewing, and I would give that a 4 out of 5. Nudes. It's where an anonymous video is shared on social media of two youngsters having sex at a party. So it sounds quite typical, I suppose, in terms of the whole what's going on with the kind of teenagers at the moment and the social media angle, and it touches on how everything is filmed and accessible on social media now, and how these teenagers in particular don't realise the effects it has, and it has so many effects on mental health, on, you know, once it's out there on the internet, it stays there. Like, you know, once someone's seen it, they can't unsee it. So it could affect like jobs and future prospects, CV, everything like that. Your reputation at school, it can lead to bullying. There's so much that can come from it. And it really explores, you know, how the impact it could potentially have. It's subtitled, and I just feel like with the topic, it could have been a lot more powerful and engaging. It just felt a little bit flat, but still very useful to watch, especially with the topic. I would give it a 2 out of 5. Stacey Dooley Investigates. So Stacey Dooley, big time presenter, she won Strictly, and she's been doing docs with BBC Three for a long time. And you can see why, because she's very likeable, and that makes the serious stuff she covers quite effortless. So she's got a lot of star quality, and she fronts this documentary. And this documentary in particular is Spy Cam Sex Criminals, the one that I watched. So it's where they're using cams to film people secretly in South Korea. So Stacey actually travels there for the documentary, and it's quite a heavy, disturbing issue if you think about it. It really gives insight into this topic that isn't that covered, to be honest, in terms of how bad it is. It's not like that popular in terms of like people talking about it. So it gives like a really good account. It gives facts as well, which are needed in documentary styles like this. You hear real life accounts of the girls that are affected by it, which is the stuff that triggers the most. And it's just generally quite a sad topic, because there's such a big invasion of privacy, and it just happens without their knowledge. You know, like sometimes people do stuff and they know they're doing it. This time they have no and it just happens like just as they're walking on the street or something, like in a busy street, and you can, you know, someone just slips something into your bag. So yeah, it's really like effective in terms of how easy it is to do something like this. It's very investigative, which is stuff I really like personally. But I just feel like it could have been a bit more hard hitting. It caters to that youth audience really well, but I just feel like with the topic, it could have delved into them life stories a little bit more, tug at them heartstrings, but still a really good watch if you like them kind of documentary, investigative style stuff. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. My Left Nut. So essentially it is what it says on the tin. It's a teenager Mick. He discovers a swelling on his testicle and attempts to hide it. It's basically a comedy that's set in Ireland, and everything about it is quite standard in terms of, you know, it's set in a school, it's about a bunch of teenagers, shows a bit of the lead's home life, so quite a kind of standard setup, but it's brilliant. It's literally one of my favourite things I've watched on there, and I was quite surprised by that. So it's got voiceover, which is quite a style of BBC Three sitcoms now. They use that to kind of get into the mind of the lead, which I think is really effective. It's got a great cast. They're really animated, and they capture that teenage school life really well. So they're quite like kind of likeable, fun cast. It's really funny and covers a topic that does need to be spoken about amongst teenagers. You know, checking your private parts and being open about it, which not a lot of people are. I really enjoyed this. I would give it a strong 4 out of 5. The Unshockable Dr Ronx. So it's that reality style documentary that BBC Three do really well, where one doctor always has a solution. So Dr Ronx is on a mission to stop the stigma around people being uncomfortable with speaking about their issues to a doctor, or not putting their health first. So like there's one scene where Dr Ronx goes to see a youngster and asks him about his foot, and he said he spent like £300 on Yeezys. And she's like, so you can spend £300 on Yeezys, but you can't go to the doctor to speak about this problem you have. And it just really kind of opens your eyes. You're like, oh my God, yeah, you can put material stuff first, but then your health kind of comes second. But then also it touches on, it delves into why a lot of people don't go to the doctors, because they're uncomfortable about what they're going through, or maybe they don't think it's a big deal as it actually is. It's quite a fresh concept, which I liked. It's quite different, a fresh concept. It gets to the bottom of youth health issues, and it gives out kind of suggestions of what to do. So if you don't want to go to a doctor and you're going through the same thing as one of them, Dr Ronx always has a solution for it, and it works. And Dr Ronx as well has a really good energy about her, which makes for easy viewing. And it covers a lot of issues that the youth would relate to. So I would give that a 3 out of 5. Famalam. So the description is, Midsummer Murders gets injected with some much needed cultural diversity. So when I read this, I was really excited. I was like, okay, this is good. This is, you know, what I want to watch. This is my type of show. It stars Tom Mucci, and the cast is predominantly BAME, so which is really needed, and I think, and they play their roles really well. It's quite a silly comedy, like about a detective solving crimes, but it has a lot of kind of different scenarios and setup. I would describe it as kind of like a scripted Celebrity Juice, you know, Keith Lemon show. Just because in terms of it being quite out there and silly in terms of the stuff they do, for me, it fails to deliver slightly. I feel like it's a bit kiddish and could have been a lot funnier. Like, it's 20 minutes, but I just feel like it needs to be a bit more fast paced for that. So I would give this a 2 out of 5.